Assalamu alaikum, welcome to a new lesson in the Wissam script. In today's lesson we are going to talk about the fa and qaf. It's going to be a bit of a tricky lesson, so we need to focus. For fa and qaf and waw, we have these moves. We're going to start with a move that goes left up, just like this. And for this move, it's basically like the thuluth. When you start a waw in thuluth, you go up, or in nasikh, you go up. So this is the one in Wissam, or in ruqa. After that, we're going back down. So you've got this lovely shape here. These two moves are the same for fa and qaf and waw. So basically fa, qaf and waw. And it's similar to other scripts. The difference in Wissam is that the first move is kind of going upward. Usually it's quite horizontal, but in the Wissam, no, it goes with a really sharp angle towards, like vertically. For this one, we put the pen with a slight angle to the left, like if this was perpendicular, we put the pen this way. And we move up. And we come back, but we add an extra bit up here, as we can see. It's a tricky move, but you have to try it. With the tip of the pen up here is the way you continue the curve thin. Now, with regard to scaling, we're going to put 2.5 dots for the height of this move, which is this height. And to govern our curvature, like the distance here, it's going to be 0.5 point. And for the width of the thing itself, it's between 1.5 and 2 points. So I'm just going to put this here as a guideline. So this square or this rectangular will contain the whole shape we have here. So we start here, we go left, curve up and stop. This is the first move. The second move would be going back and curving back this way. So the first one looks like this, and the second one has a really slight curvature up here, then it curves the other way around. There's a curvature up here, you have to focus on this one. Then it rotates back this way. So these two, when you combine them, you get this nice shape that is tricky to make, but it's not impossible, as we can see. Now, to help you, you could focus on the negative space here, the white space. It has to look something like this: curvature up, then curvature down. If you drew this, then you started to make it with the pen, you'll eventually get your head around the curvature. So what you have to do is to make this shape. If it was very hard for you, like a banana that is looking downward, then you put the upper part of the pen here and you start moving. You make the first one, then you change the parts into the lower part of the pen, the lower cuts, and you come back, and this way you get this shape. So this shape can be a waw if you connect it to a ra, could be a fa if you connect it to a ba, and could be a qaf if you connect it to a noon. We will come to these now. So after finishing the first move, we are going to move on to the let's say the rules about the fa. For the fa, after doing the first and the second move, we stop here. It's just like a ba. So for the letter ba, you have to go 1 point above the line. This is the line of writing. So you start here, you go down, and you rotate, and you come back. Now the distance here is similar to as a ba. For example, it is 5 points, but here will be 4.5 because we have the head of the fa. So this would be the letter fa. Now for letter qaf, it will be the same, but with a noon's cup. the same one we used for Sin, Shin, Sad, Dod. So we go up, we go back down, we stop here, and he could have it either with a slight nudge or they could join. It's up to you, as we can see. Now for the cup here, it would be 3 points of width, and this would be 1.5 points, the last part that comes back here. So you go down, go up, and come back, just like in Noon's cup, as you can see. And for this part, it's kind of tricky to get sometimes, but with practice you'll be able to make it perfect. Now, as we can see, the Waw is basically a Ra, so go back to the Ra lesson and see how you could make this one. And for the Fa, it's a Ba, and for a Qaf, it's a Noon cup. Now, what about connection? When we connect a Fa or a Qaf, basically we do the same thing. We don't change anything about it, it's just the letter that follows it. So for example, if we had a Fa and an Alif, I'm going to use this Alif. And let's write Fa is winner. So here, as we can see, we've got the Fa and the Alif, how they are connected. Keep in mind and focus on the, let's say, the gap between the Fa and the Alif. And it's kind of, maybe at the beginning it's tricky to get this shape, but with practice and with time it gets easier. Now, what about if we had a Fa or a Qaf in the middle? For that one, let's write Faqir. We write a Fa, we go back down, and here we're going to use the same shape as the Ba we talked about. And we go up for a Qaf, as we can see, it dropped down. And we come back with this shape, and I am going to use this Ya and connect it to a Ra like this. So here we have Fa, Qaf, Ya and Ra, Faqir. You see how we connected the Qaf to the Fa to the Qaf? The same rule goes for the Qaf, so Qif would be something like this, stop would be Qaf, then it will connect to a Fa, and finally the Fa would be simply a Ba. This with regards if it came at the end of the word. What about what if the Qaf came at the end of the word? It will be, for example, Wafaqa. So here we have a Waw, an Alif, a Fa, finally a Qaf, and we of course use the Noon end. And here we have Wafaqa. Again, you scale these parts and make sure that the space on the right equals the space on the left, and etc. So here, today's lesson we spoke about the Fa and Qaf and Waw. Review this, practice this, like use most of your time practicing this head, because it is tricky, just like the other scripts. In the Thuluth, the letter Waw is one of the hardest letters that you could write out there. It's really tricky, and you need to focus while writing it. It requires some fixations here, and the scale of the letter itself, the secrets behind it. So Wissam is the same thing, but it's in a way easier. The thing you need to focus on are those two moves, how to get them right, the angle for them, and the rest is just copies from the letter Ra for the Waw, and the letter Ba for the Fa, and the letter Qaf for the letter Noon for the Qaf. And here you go, you've got a like you've got 4 words to practice, and connect them to the previous ones. For example, فج من كل فج عميق, you've got a fa, and here for example you could make something tricky by connecting it to this gem, as you can see, or you could try and connect it to another gem, which would be this one, but you have to sort of find a way to get this back. And so yeah, play around with the letter, try connecting it to the other letters, and make sure to like, subscribe and share these videos if you like them, and see you in the next one. This has been Ammar Al-Awdi, and have a lovely weekend. Goodbye.